No, everybody gets.
Well, I'm not quite tired of talking about sewers just yet. I think it is the number one issue in the minds of virtually every voter in the village. Has overwhelming financial consequences to so many people. I kind of think we were sold a bill of goods by our engineering staff, our consultants, and perhaps our staff, and that we just returned that $3.8 million to the EPA, a grant that was to fund exploration of on-site systems. They chose northern Lower Matacumbe. The residents that got involved in the process down there nixed the idea as far as it was 75% grant funding to investigate just the kind of systems that some of us up here are investigating even as we speak, and that look to have a lot of promise both financially, environmentally, through reuse. If elected, I will immediately have a time certain re-exploration of that issue. We won't get that $3.8 million back from the EPA, but I think we need to address this issue once and for all and put it to bed. As I said in my opening statement, I've been involved in the village since its inception. I am conversant with every issue. I went through flums and land use and you name it, the amphitheater. I think I know the sense, I have a sense of the village, and I would listen to the people and do what they want to have done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Achenberg.
Thank you. The one question that I believe should have been asked tonight and wasn't was, what is the future of affordable housing in Islamorada? You know, sitting in this room tonight, we have a government appointee for affordable housing. I don't know your exact title, Dave, but you've been appointed by the governor. We have two directors of the Middle Keys Community Land Trust in the room. Yet we have abandoned affordable housing after making I believe a heartfelt and very expensive, frankly, commitment in terms of staff time to the betterment of affordable housing. We have a piece of property that we own that is lying fallow right now because we have not done anything with it. We have not looked forward or looked into the possibility of a private-public partnership to move that, to develop that property for affordable housing. We could put 37, 38 units in there and provide provide housing, provide homes for people in our area, for people, for mates, for policemen, for teachers, for people who need this housing, and we have the basis for it. We have the land. Why you should vote for me? Simply because I have conducted my office with integrity, courage, common sense, and selflessness, and if I were to be reelected, I would continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bates.
Thank you. The one question I'm going to ask is what I can do for you. I know your frustration on what's been occurring and the mistakes, the costly mistakes. You at Venetian Shores had some unique situations. I hear from you. I've been over to many of your homes. The privatization of your roads, the canals, the traffic up and down Snake Creek, many issues in Venetian Shores, from vacation rentals to beautification. And I'm here to work for you. I'm not going to come and make excuses of mistakes. You're picking a leader. As an airline pilot, we are trained to make the right decision and not make mistakes. I'm not going to make the mistakes that you've seen of my opponent. I am going to work diligently, be prepared, do my homework prior to going in the meeting, and look for all the grant money and save this community from the direction we're going. I'm going to look forward with real solutions for real goals for a fantastic future that we all live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Purdo, excuse me.
Just a real quick response to the mayor's question here. The reason the wet net property stopped is because of a lawsuit thrown by certain people in this community. Now the density is only 32 units, and they want to make them high price, which would be about $270,000 per unit, which makes it unusable for affordable housing because those poor people can't afford that. The question that I thought should have been asked is why we filed, or why I was one of the people that filed a lawsuit. We came before this council and we lobbied before this council and told them what they were doing was wrong. This council needs 4 votes to spend $4 million, and they only had 3, and they created a $20 million tax. For them to spend $20 million on wastewater when you need a supermajority of council, we felt was illegal. Many of the public spoke at that meeting. We did our best to convince this council. We had people standing outside. Maybe had 150 people here, and the council turned blind ears. They wouldn't even listen to them. This assessment was improper. It was wrong. Vacant lots pay 5 times more than condo owners. It was. I'm just proud. Okay, I'm just proud that I did for what I did for no gain, and I think it was good for this community. And this community has a choice to make whether they want to vote for the incumbents that have strangled the taxpayers or the people that are trying to stop them.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Okay, thank you. First, to go to the last question. I'm sorry, thank you. To go to the last question first, I'd like to start by saying I have a lot of respect for my opponent. I really like Debbie, and always have. And I'd much rather serve with her than run against her. The big difference is about money, and the big difference is about issues, not one single personal thing other than that. Deb, I believe, made a mistake when she took her chair and in the first 5 seconds voted for a $21 million assessment that I think, and I agree with Dave, was flawed and illegal in some areas, particularly when you consider the law that you must be able to provide the services of what you assess for. We cannot do that with vacant lots number 1 because we don't have the permits to issue them for development. So that in itself would be an illegal reason not to have that assessment. But the worst part is there's 4 more assessments just like it coming if we're to bear the whole burden of wastewater, and I'm not ready to stop talking about it. Our goal should be a debt-free village and to get serious about trimming every area. Meeting after meeting, both council and staff need to keep the big numbers in the forefront of their minds. The taxing, borrowing, and spending needs to stop. I've listened carefully and heard your voices. From me, I think you can count on honesty, integrity, and openness, and I pledge to represent our citizen first. I will strive to navigate this village through turbulent waters into a safe harbor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Phillipson.
Am I the last guy?
Pardon?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone, Stan and Cheryl, for putting this on, and my first time at trying to be a public official. And anyone that wants to try this, I can share some experiences with them. The question that I think needs to be asked is how can we better communicate with the citizens of Isla Mirada? And I would like to reinstate the quarterly town hall meetings with the council. I'd like to have a weekly briefing meetings open to the public where at 8:01 or 9:01 or whatever time it is that we listen to the village manager and the staff so we can get a briefing on where we are on all these projects that we have going, whether it's collecting the money or whether it's spending the money. I want to see a better business plan. I want to support, and I do support, the 7 items of the Concerned Citizens Committee. And I want to be able to take citizens' questions. I want to be able to sit here after a council meeting and have a citizen come up to me that didn't want to go to that podium